Hi, my name is Ilma and welcome to my channel. I've been posting Christian blogs 12 straight years every day. Today I'd like to share Genesis 47 verses 13 to 22. Here's the word of God. Now there was no food in all the land, for the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, in exchange for the grain that they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when the money was all spent in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us food. Why should we die before your eyes? For our money is gone." And Joseph answered, "Give your livestock, and I will give you food in exchange for your livestock, if your money is gone." So they bought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them food in exchange for the horses, the flocks, the herds, and the donkeys. He supplied them all with food in exchange for all their livestock that year. And when that year was ended, they came to him the following year and said to him, "We will not hide from my lord that our money is all spent. The herds of livestock are my lord's. There is nothing left in the sight of my lord but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for food, and we will, with our land will be servants to Pharaoh. And give us seed that we may live and not die, and that the land may not be desolate." So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for all the Egyptians sold their fields because the famine was severe on them. The land became Pharaoh's. As for the people, he made servants of them from one end of Egypt to the other. Only the land of the priests he did not buy, for the priests had a fixed allowance from Pharaoh and lived on the allowance that Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their land. Genesis 47:13 to 22. Here's the poem I wrote inspired by those verses. Joseph prospers Pharaoh during famine. When the 7 years of famine came over the lands, only Egypt and Canaan had food from their grains. So all the surrounding areas bought grain from Joseph. Joseph's administration made Pharaoh rich and owned much. And here's my commentary on that. If God wasn't with Joseph, the whole of Egypt and Canaan wouldn't survive the famine. They didn't only survive, but thrived because of God's guidance through Joseph. Joseph's wise administration brought Pharaoh much prosperity and wealth. Reflection. Do you think anyone would prosper without God's hand in it? Why or why not? In James 1, it says, "Every good gift comes from the Father above." So every good thing, prosperity is a good thing, comes from God, and God would allow it. But there are also some ways that we can be prosperous through illegal means, and that's not from God. So in other words, every good thing comes from God. Every righteous thing comes from God. So when you prosper, and you prospered because you did the right thing, just like what Joseph did. You know, all these other people in the other land could have done what he had done during the 7 years of plenty to save for that bounty and use that for the time when they needed it in the famine years. But they didn't do that because they didn't believe in God. God wasn't with them. So I think that anyone will never prosper if it's not in God's hand. So, or maybe sometimes we think that why there's so many corrupt people or rich people who do not believe in God, and yet they live rich lives, but that is material rich. In here, we see that even the household of the Egyptians, it's like almost if you read the other stories of in the Bible about the Egyptians, they're all bad and mean. But in this case, you will see that Pharaoh's household were not mean. They were following Joseph because they see God in Joseph. So, in other words, God prospered the Pharaoh because he is able to also recognize him, God, even though he wasn't a believer, he recognized God's presence in Joseph's life, and he put Joseph in charge because he knows that if he did that, he would prosper, and he did. So I encourage you to reflect on these following verses because it is so important for us to recognize that everything that we have is only allowed by God, and it's only in God's grace that we get anything that we have right now. So we should be able to glorify God with the things that we have. Otherwise, the reason why God gives this to us is so that we can give Him glory. And if we give ourselves glory for the things that we have, then that is idolatry. Thanks for watching. I hope you check my website at ilmaarts.com for artworks, photographs, and a copy of this blog. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube so I could make more videos and give you the Word of God. If you haven't already, check over 3,000 videos I've done. Those 12 years I've been doing this daily. Just type on Google or YouTube search ILMA'S Palm Devotional. Have a wonderful day.